Hello Strength Matters, welcome to Whiteboard Wednesdays. I am Phil McDougall.
And I'm Scott Olson.
And today we're going to talk about breathing. Super important. We haven't spoken about it before because we've been focusing on the 10 components, the movement patterns. But in the back of our minds this whole time we've been wanting to talk about breathing, but it's such a big subject, it deserves its own Whiteboard Wednesday. It deserves a lot of Whiteboard Wednesdays, but today we're going to speak a little bit about how breathing should be the number one that any trainer should go towards with their clients. So before mobility, stability, balance, those master qualities, breathing has to be right to make any advancement or any gains. Before I pass over to Scott, I'll just mention a little bit about some basic anatomy. Skeleton, pelvis, lower back, upper body. The upper body, a lot of movement can be created in the upper body through a dynamic thoracic spine, powerful shoulder girdles. A lot more movement can be created by the lower body, but yet we have this very unstable area that connects these two powerhouses to the lower back. One of the reasons why there are so many problems with people's lower backs are because they lack what should be there surrounding the lower back. Should be this cocoon of highly activated tissue. So just a little bit about that. You've got on the bottom, you've got the floor, the pelvic floor. You've got there the diaphragm. Or all the way around the outsides, you've got your transverse abdominis, which kind of sits in a loop-like fashion, and around the outsides you've got the external internal obliques, both sides, and then probably least important of all these, the rectus abdominis, and you've got the other ones around the back, the multifidus, the QLs, all that. But anyway, all of those, they all serve to A, protect this area, B, transmit force from lower to upper body and vice versa, C, just facilitate good movement and reduce injury.
And I'll speak to this webbing of musculature. When we dynamically engage it, as Phil said, it protects the back, it distributes the load, but it can do a lot more than that. So aside from connecting the whole body, which means that we can be more powerful, more strong, more agile, proper breath mechanics, which isn't always the same as just better breathing. When I say mechanics, what Phil is demonstrating up here is the actual musculature of the abdomen and the core has a profound impact on the rest of the body. When this structure is engaged properly, when the diaphragm is descending instead of staying more stuck, which you'll see with people who are breathing and their ribs expand very dynamically, they're often a little stiff in the diaphragm. But when all of this is coordinating properly, the health benefits are tremendous. It can help with psoas issues, with lumbar pain issues. It can help with adrenal function and kidneys. It can help lower anxiety and lower instances of GERD. And a lot of internal health issues can actually be improved when someone works on their breathing and their breath mechanics. Yeah. Phil has an interesting visual that's really worth sharing, so take us through that.
Okay, so imagine a Jello cube sitting on a table. You press down on top of the Jello cube, the sides bulge out, right? That's a little bit how the muscles of the abdomen work. When the sides are pushed outwards by the pressure inside the abdomen, when a muscle lengthens, it's neurologically activated, and then it creates a contraction and pulls it back in again. Push it out, pull it back in, push it out, pull it back in. And this should be happening 20, 30, 50 times a day, every single time you take a breath in. But when we're breathing up here all the time, not only are we not activating all this and basically just letting it sleep, but we're also sending a message to our brain that says we're in survival mode, we're panic mode. And what does that do? Releases stress hormone and basically tells you body to leave fat stores under the surface. So that's probably the one that hits home the hardest. Oh, if I learn to breathe right, it will help me lose fat. Yes. So going on to that analogy, so you got the jello pushing out from the sides. Imagine if you put a cardboard box around the jello, but somehow removed the floor. You'd push down from the bottom, and the floor would move out. That's the same as having somebody who can squeeze their abs, take a breath in, but they feel a lot of pressure down in their bladder because they can't manage to activate the pelvic floor at the same time. Whereas when we're coming to, this is one for another Whiteboard Wednesday, but if you can manage to create tension in all of the walls around by tensing in the transverse abdominis, and to do that we're not coming in and tensing up rectus abdominis, we're squeezing the belt, trying to make our waist as thin as possible, pulling up on the pelvic floor and taking a breath in. All of a sudden you've got what's called intra-abdominal pressure, which is required then for a good strong press, a deadlift, or any other strength movement.
There's an ancient phrase in Chinese medicine and martial arts that breath is queen. It governs so many things. And the full saying is, breath is queen, but posture is king. So when we look at this diagram, we realize there's so much tissue and musculature and possibility of engaging properly, especially when we're breathing efficiently and fully. And really that is going to tie into our posture, our skeletal system, our whole way of living with vitality and power. So Phil and I both have a background working with not just performing athletes, but with people in pain. One of the first things I'll work with is breath and breath mechanics to take someone out of pain. When they learn to have that better engagement that Phil's describing, and that diaphragm is descending much more naturally and actively with a good breath, so many complaints of pressure or chronic pain start to get alleviated. Look for future episodes as we dive into different concepts of this, but this is a tremendous opportunity for you out there.
Yeah, so just to give you something to go away with, if you're thinking, ooh, hang on, I can improve everything if I breathe right, I can eliminate pain, I can lose fat, movement will become better. As a level 1, I would say go down to the floor, or maybe look up YouTube, look up crocodile breathing, or look up diaphragmatic breathing techniques. There's a whole ton on there. Just lay down on the floor and practice your breathing.
Well, thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to the next one.
Thanks for watching.